Now on to this program. This is a very special one for us. The Asian Theater program at the University of Hawaii Theater and Dance Department, all of their productions are across the street at Kennedy Theater, has been going on for decades and is one of the jewels of the University of Hawaii system, in that it presents some incredible Asian theater traditions translated to English, maintaining the sensibilities and the artistry of the traditional cultures. So from Noh theater to Kabuki to Kyogen this year to Jingju and Shichu, the Chinese opera traditions, to Indonesia, Southeast Asian traditions, to Indian, and also expanding to Hawaiian language. These theater productions are really incredible opportunities for the students and for the community to learn about these rich theater traditions. In particular, in the Asian traditions, we at the arts program have been collaborating on the outreach side of things. So for school presentations and public community presentations, we've been able to partner very well with the great faculty at the Theater and Dance Department. But we felt that these teaching artists, when they're here, they could be here for several months teaching these students very intensively these traditions, so they can present on stage a full production in English, which is a pretty incredible thing that happens almost every year. But in their capacity as teaching artists, they are often not on stage naturally. But while they are here in residence, we thought what we could do is partner to present these masters in a more informal program to provide some more insight, some deeper knowledge to a community that largely may understand or be familiar with these traditions already. So that's what we're doing tonight with starting this Discover series. So hopefully it'll be kind of an ongoing series to discover for the first time, or maybe new aspects of some of these great theater traditions and other artistic traditions that we either have here in Hawaii, or we have incredible artists visiting Hawaii to share. So Professor Julie Yetzi has been spearheading the Japanese theater programs, productions for many years, and she's been working very hard on this Kyogen presentation that will debut in April. So today we're very happy to have a master artist in residence who can share more about the tradition, give you folks a little preview of what you'll see on the Kennedy Theater stage next month, and provide some deeper insight and knowledge into this great comic theater tradition. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Professor Julie Yetzi.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming today. It's really a delight to be here, and it's a pleasure to be able to showcase one of our guest artists, because we don't, as Eric said, we don't often get to do that. He did talk about our Asian theater program, and one of the reasons that our Asian theater program is what it is, we can only do what we do because of the generosity and the wonderful willingness to share the knowledge, their own knowledge, by the guest artists who come and work with us, whether it be Jinju or Kabuki or Kyogen. And as he said, this year is our Kyogen year. And we are working with a family of Kyogen artists from Kyoto, the Shigeyama Sengoro family. And Kyogen, many of you probably have an idea of what it is, and I imagine that's why you came today, to see the master artist at work. It is a tradition, a comic tradition that has origins going back well over 600 years. And the wonderful thing about it is that it's very much alive and present in this century, still growing and changing and protecting everything that came with it, and also creating new things for now and for the future. And we are very privileged at the university in our Asian theater program to be a part of that tradition and to share that, be able to share that knowledge. Without further ado, I would like to introduce one of our guest artists, Doji Shigeyama. He's from the family in Kyoto. And it's really a privilege for me to introduce Doji Sensei to you all, because I remember watching him make his debut on the stage when he was about 4 years old, or maybe not quite 4 years old. So I wanted to ask you how old you are. I'm going to ask him a few questions here to begin with. How old are you now, Doji?
I will be turning 34 in like 2 weeks. Yes, April 2nd is my birthday. So I'm still 33.
And then you're 33 now, and how long have you been performing on the stage?
On stage, it's kind of strange, but my first performance was actually not Kyogen. And it was in my dad's theater company, and my first performance was about 2.5 years old. And my Kyogen debut was about 3.5 years old. So I've been doing it for both more than 30 years now.
So which tells me not many of us have been doing something for more than 30 years when we're only 33 years old. So what is it like? I mean, when did you realize that, yourself as a Kyogen actor, you probably were already on stage and performing before you even realized what you were doing? So when did you come to that realization of me as a Kyogen actor and what that meant?
It's a common question that I'm asked very often, but it's kind of difficult because we don't have like a license or like a school that if you graduate this school you become a Kyogen actor. If you have a certain license, it's a Kyogen actor. For example, like everybody in this theater, if you just say, I'm a Kyogen actor, you are. No license needed. You don't have to do Kyogen to become a Kyogen actor. You just have to say it. So it's kind of difficult to say when, but because like you said, when I realized I was already doing it. And so I tell other people, like, for example, people who are selling vegetables, their family has its own shop, like their family is a bakery or something, then probably when they're small, they do a little bit of what their parents are doing. Maybe they stand at the cashier when they're small, and then they gradually become part of their family's business. It's kind of like that, so it's very difficult to say when I decided to become a Kyogen actor. Maybe the really big change was actually the first time you invited me to Hawaii, which was 15 years ago, and I was only 18. And I was going around doing backpacking for a year, and I almost ran out of money. And I found out that my father was invited to Julie's program in Hawaii to teach students. So I thought maybe I could get some food if I come to Hawaii. So I decided to come all the way from the mainland to Hawaii, and I spent some time here and taught some students. And then after I went back, I wasn't actually planning on going back. I had no plans. Maybe I had a choice of not doing Kyogen anymore, but then I went back and I did a few stages, and it was very fun for me. So maybe that's the time I decided to really keep doing Kyogen.
I still remember that first day when you came, and as he said, he was about 18 years old, so he was younger than most of the students. We had graduate students and college students, and he opened his mouth to demonstrate something, and literally all of their jaws just dropped. They couldn't believe that this young kid, from their point of view, could do what he was doing. That was amazing. So you're from a kind of unusual family, Kyogen family. There are many families in Kyogen in two schools, the Izumi school and the Okura school, and within each school there are several families. And you were telling me a little bit about your family, so I would like maybe you could share some of that about the different names in the family and different people.
Okay. So in Kyogen, there are two major schools in Japan, and that is Okura School and Izumi School. And Izumi School and Okura School right now both have 5 families each, and we are a part of Okura School. And each Kyogen, for example, like No, where there are 5 schools in No, in their schools, the way they act on stage are pretty much the same, because there's a system called the Iemoto system, which the head of the school has the right to direct how plays are going to be performed on stage. But in Kyogen, there used to be a Iemoto system, and there still is a Iemoto for Okura School and Izumi School, but it kind of dissolved, and right now in Kyogen, the difference of the families is like more like a school. The families are, each family is more like a school, and we do Kyogen very differently from the Okura school that performs in Tokyo. And our family dates back to, I am the 14th generation of our family, and my family has been doing Kyogen for about 350 years now. And we used to be hired by a daimyo called in Hikone. There's a region called Hikone in Japan. There's a big lake called Lake Biwa, the biggest lake in Japan. And he was the daimyo, the lord of this place. And we were hired for a long time. But right before Japan opened up to the world, we decided we were going to work for the emperor as well, because the Hikone lords didn't pay us so much. And in those eras, actors who were hired by these daimyos was basically also samurais, although we didn't fight. We just did performance, but as a rank, we were samurais. But so you cannot get hired by 2 different places, samurais. You have to be loyal to one family. So what we did was we changed names. When we went to the Hikone lords, we said Shigeyama Sengoro, and when we went to the capital Kyoto to perform in front of the emperor, we said Shigeyama Sensaku, and it's kind of the same name, but so they couldn't realize it, but maybe they were generous enough to just let it go. And after Japan opened up and after the war happened, all this system of lords or somebody like patrons hiring Kyogen actors it went away. And so a lot of the people couldn't make their living just by doing Kyogen. And so our family, for example, my grandfather used to like sell bananas at the black market after the war, and he did a cafe, and while he was doing performances on the weekends. But we did a lot of we tried to open up Kyogen and No to more of the local public people, rather than to the socially high-ranked people. And so our family was the first one to perform in local elementary schools, or like in wedding parties. And so we did that for about 100 years, and right now our family's Kyogen style is very much modernized, very how would you say it? Adaptable? Is that the word? Yeah. We tried to make the audience laugh as much as possible because it's a comedy. And not all Kyogen families do that. Because the form is also important to preserve stuff, to keep doing what was there 600 years ago is also important. But we also think that because it's a performance, we need the audience living right now to enjoy as well. And our family is basically performing stuff for the audience live that are watching. Yeah.
So that we don't stand up here and talk for too long, I'm going to turn it over to not ask any more questions so that Doji-san can demonstrate this particular flavor of the Shigeyama family Kyogen. He has a nice program lined up for you. And,
so I would like to show you. Oh, thank you. So I would like to show you what Kyogen is today. But Kyogen, we usually do it with more than 2 people, so it's going to be kind of like a small demonstration. But let's start out with some questions for you. How many of you have seen Kyogen before? Really? And how many of you have seen it in Hawaii? Okay, so this must be because of Julie? How many of you have seen it in the Hawaii University's program? Yeah, I think that's it. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I'm glad that some of you have seen this traditional performance. And usually when people think of Japanese traditional performance, they think of first kabuki, probably. Yes, it's well known. And then a lot of people may know No, and quite a few people know Kyogen. And we've been trying to give an idea of what Kyogen is. And Kyogen is like a 650-year-old comedy. And it's always been performed by a performance called No. And No is like a tragedy and a musical. They sing and dance, and then basically the story is about somebody historical or somebody from a famous novel. And most of the time it's sad. And Kyogen, on the other hand, almost no famous people come out. Really. For example, when there's a role that I have to play on stage and it needs a name, usually it doesn't even need a name. It's just a man. But when you have to say somebody's name, you say the person's real name. So if I was to play a role that needed a name on stage, I would be called Doji. And that is because the setting is mostly the local people of the Muromachi era, Japan. And it talks about daily life and everything on stage that happens. It was something that could have happened to anybody who was watching. So in Kyogen, the very famous line and 50% of Kyogen plays start with a line called これはこの辺りに住まいいたすものでござる, which means I am a man who lives around here. So if I did this play here, then it means I am a man living in this Manoa area. And by saying that, we are trying to tell the audience that we are no different from who the audience and the actors are no different. One of the audience happened to come up on stage and tell his own story. So it's a very local story, and also because it can be something that it's a play that can happen anywhere. We can also perform in like America or Europe or Asia, and then similar stories are there all over in the world. So, but different about Japanese arts and the Western art is that we have something called kata. And what kata is is we can translate the kata maybe as to English form. There is a form for doing everything in Kyogen and No and Kabuki, and they're all slightly different. So today I would like to demonstrate some of the Kyogen katas for you. First, I will demonstrate one of the easiest kata to understand. Please guess what I'm doing on stage. This is a typical Kyogen kata. That's it. Did you get what I was doing? Yeah? This is the Kyogen kata for laughing. I hope none of you got wrong. But obviously, if you come to Kyoto and go to the shrines or temples or walk in the downtown, nobody is laughing like this. It only happens on Kyogen stage. And why we do this? Why we laugh so big? There's a reason for all these katas. Kyogen and No used to be performed outside when the performance was created. And there were no like real seats. Theater in Japanese, it's called shibai. And shibai means to sit or to be on top of grass or turf. So people used to perform on top of like just grass or no stage, and the audience had no seats, and they could watch from wherever they want, 360 degrees. So a lot of the audience were watching from far away. And to make the audience understand what the actors were doing on stage, we invented this system called kata, which basically has a rule that when you're not moving, don't move. When you're not in the story, or when you're not important, don't move. When you move, move very largely and speak up very loudly. So all these kata, this basic rule is followed by this kind of a rule. And there are even katas for like standing. We don't stand normally on the Kyogen stage. We stand in a certain way called kamae, and this is kamae. And from here, we walk in a way called suri ashi, or sliding feet, like this. So, it's not super strange, but it's kind of strange. You wouldn't see anybody walking on the street like this. And of course, there is a reason why we do this. I told you that we were doing performances outside in Kyogen and No, but Kyogen and No performances were long, way back in the Muromachi period. They had 5 No plays and 5 Kyogen plays, which took about like 12 hours. And so people loved to watch Kyogen and No in those eras, but it was actually tiring for them to watch the whole show from morning till night. And especially people's eyes get tired if you concentrate and watch a performance for so long. And so they thought, well, maybe we could find a way for the audience not to get so tired. And the actors or directors, I don't know, somebody in the Muromachi period found out that humans' eyes move easier sideways than up and down. So maybe you could, when you go home, you could experiment. You take your finger out and you stare it and try to move it sideways quickly, and to try to move it up and down quickly and follow with your eyes. It should be harder to follow up and down. So they wanted to lose this moving of up and down as much as possible. And the conclusion was to use suriashi, which the head and the waist doesn't move up and down. So we're not doing suriashi to clean the floor. The purpose of doing this is so that our body doesn't jump up and down. And this was said to be like the beautiful form of the Muromachi era. And so like I told you that there's kata for everything. And Kyogen, because in the old times there was 360 degrees audience. We couldn't put props on stage. Everybody was watching from everywhere else, so we couldn't make big settings on stage. So what we did was we did everything by mime. For example, for example, in Kyogen there is often a play where there's a door in the house, and then if you open the door, you get to the sake cellar, and the servants often steal the master's sake and drink. So they need to open the cellar, the sake cellar. And in modern play or in TV drama, of course, you would make the door of the cellar. But in Kyogen, we do it all by mime. I'd like to demonstrate that. Opening a sake cellar is like this. That's it. Simple. And that shows, that is a sign that we opened a heavy door. And for example, if you open a sake cellar, then people want to drink it. And then we use some props. For example, we use this thing called a fan. I'm sure you know fans, but it's called mai-ogi, and it's used for dancing. So it's kind of, it's usually slightly bigger than the Japanese regular fans. And we use this as a sake bottle and a sake cup. When you hold the fan like this, and you hold the left hand, you hold the sleeve of the right hand with your left hand, it becomes a sake bottle immediately, like this. And to pour, you say, sore. 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 Sore, 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 sore. And then the sake is coming out from here. You have to imagine. Sake coming out of here. And then the person who's going to drink it holds the fan sideways like this. And then this is a sake cup. And then he receives it. When the other person says sore, he says, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Full. And now he drinks the sake like this. Just like this. However many times you pour the sake, it doesn't become empty. Free, totally free sake. And we use many props and small props for like making Kyogen performances. But most of them we use it. We don't, for example, if we want to put a tree, we don't put a tree. We put something that symbolizes a tree and let the audience use their imaginations. And so it's very important for the audience to have imaginations, to think what's going on stage by listening and watching the mimes. So when a Kyogen performance goes well, half of the why it went well is because the actors were good. When it doesn't go well, it's because half of the reason is the audience didn't have imagination. So we make the performance together with the audience. So I'd like to show another prop called kazuraoke. Yes, this is black wooden, what would you call it, barrel? Yes, and it's called kazuraoke. We don't actually know why it's called kazuraoke. Kazura is, there's certain definitions of it, but this is most popular prop in Kyogen. And we use it for, like, for example, if we do this, we use it as a chair. And if we can take the lid off, and if we take the lid off, this actually becomes a sake cup. Yeah. So it proves that Japanese people actually in the old days used to drink like Germans. They used to drink a lot. Yes. And also, like I told you, this is a symbol. This could be a symbol of a tree. There's a Kyogen called Kakiyama bushi, and a mountain priest comes out and he becomes hungry and he looks around in the fields to see if there was anything to eat. Then he finds a persimmon tree, and he decides to climb on the persimmon tree and eat the fruit. And this becomes a persimmon tree by just doing one action and saying one line. First, we put this kazuraoke around here in the front of the stage, and the Yamabushi stands here, and he looks on top of the kazuraoke, and he says, "Oh, there is a big persimmon tree." Please imagine. Please, yes. And then just by saying that, there is a persimmon tree, and then he tries to throw a rock to drop the persimmon, and he goes like this. Yet. Oh, I missed. So, he throws a rock, but it never hits in Kyogen. So he decides to go climb up on the trees. Here is the tree, and then climbing up on a tree means I'm going to go up on top of this. I go. You didn't see that. And then there's all these fruits around me. So the Yamabushi eats the fruit like this. This is so good. I shall eat another. So this is eating persimmon on a tree. And in Kyogen, many food and drinks come out. For example, rice cakes, mochi. There is several Kyogen we have that we eat mochi. And we eat mochi like this. Eat. Exactly the same. Whatever we eat on stage, it's same. Whether it's a fruit or whether it's a rice cake. But that is kata. So, if you know the kata, then just by looking at that, you know, oh, he's eating something. So this is the good thing about performance in kata. When you know the rule, then even if you don't understand the details, then you know what that person is doing. So, like the laughter that I did, if you just came into the theater in the middle of a show and I was doing that, then the audience would know, he would still know that, oh, that actor is laughing. And some other katas, for example, if there's a laughing, there's crying. In Kyogen, we cry like this. It's pretty much, maybe some of you realize, but it's pretty much same as laughing. Laughing is crying is yes. The only difference is whether it's ha or he. And the action is just a little bit different. But to symbolize things is also very important for kata. And I can show you Kyogen kata like this, and I can demonstrate you some of like the no katas. For example, in no, I I cried like this. No is more of a quiet, dramatic play. So they don't cry comically like this. They cry like this. Okay, I should stop there. So, you see, you had a very different reaction when I did the crying of Kyogen. It was more of like an open feeling. Everybody laughed, although I was crying on stage. But when I cry like that in No, everybody goes, "What is he doing?" And we concentrate. So that is why we perform Kyogen and No together. In a No performance, it's very concentrating performance. Everybody is watching, concentrating, and it goes on for like an hour and a half. So although it is a wonderful performance, people do get tired. And then, so we do a Kyogen, which is comedy, and which is a play that the hearts kind of open up. And we do each of them at one by one to make the audience feel the good moments and also the serious moments of life. Okay, so like I told you, Kyogen is mostly a play that's been performed with several people at the same time. There are two one-person plays, but both of them are not very interesting, so I won't do them today. Instead, I would like to demonstrate a small play called Bonsan, a part of it here. And the Bonsan means, it's the same meaning as bonsai, and maybe many of you know bonsai. It's like a Japanese traditional, I don't know how you call it, like there's like a pot, and then there's like, what, pine trees? Okay, that's not explained. Miniature trees that usually old men like to trim, and yeah. If you don't know it, check the Google for bonsai afterwards. Anyways, there is something. It was like it was very big in the Muromachi Edo period, and so this man likes bonsai very much, and his friend is a wonderful collector, and he has a lot of them, but his friend won't give any of them to him, so he decides to go into his house and steal some. And so he goes to his friend's house at night time, and then sees that his friend, I suppose his friend is very rich. There are guards in the front, so he decides to go to the back where the fence is a little bit broken. And so he cuts the fence open and he goes in, and then in the dark he tries to reach for the to the room where the bonsan is. And unfortunately he opens the door and then there's like lights inside it, and he becomes frightened and he runs away. But finally he gets to the room where the bonsan, all these bonsan is kept, and while he is choosing which one to take home, then the person, the owner of the house wakes up and he comes to the room, so the thief runs away. This is kind of like the story. And I would like to demonstrate this in front of you right now. It'll be something like 5 minutes, a very short Kyogen piece. So I will do it in Japanese, but a lot of action, so I hope you could understand.
これはこの辺りに住まいいたすものでござり。ここに太郎殿と申して、盆山のあまた持たせられたお方がござるが、 のままであればようござるが、何とござろうやらも存ぜ。あらうれしい。まだ吉垣一重じゃ。かようなこともござろうかと存じ、のこぎりを用意いたいた。ならば縄節を切る。ずかずかずかずか。ずかずかずかずかずか。ずかずかずかずかずか。切れた。ならばかきを引きめく。メリメリメリメリ。メリメリメリメリ。メリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメリメ なったりおびただしい鳴り音であった。みどもはうろたえた。今の鳴り音を人に聞かすまいと思うて自分の耳をちょっと押さえた。さらば今の間にかける。これにまだ塀がある。この分な飛び越えてまいろ。やったな。さてさてこりゃ暗いことかな。確かこれをひんなりへ取ってまいればそのままの表座敷じゃが、さてさて暗いこと。俺に何やら手触る。雨戸そうだ。まず開けてみば。さらさらさらさら。うわ恐ろしい恐ろしい恐ろしい。有明がともいてある。誰もいるかしら。誰もおらぬそうだ。さらば今の間に中へ入ろう。やっと。さてさてこれは結構なお座敷じゃ。このようなところへはついに参ったことが。それはこそこれにおびただしゅう盆さんが取り乱いてある。これはどれにしたものであろうぞ。これにいたそうか。いやいや、これはちょっと山が低い。どれにしたものであろう。これにいたそうか。いや、これもちょっと枝が細い。どれにしたものであろうぞ。おお、夏山の富士山。さてこれは結構なものじゃ。さらばこれにいたそうとぞ。いやたそ気づいたそうな。さてさて苦々しいことじゃ。これはいかなこ。これは何としたもの。さればこそあれから参った。許いてくだされ。許いてくだされ。許させられ。許させられ。
Thank you. You had a sense of many different kata there. The kata of all kinds of things. Cutting and sneaking and picking up and hiding and being scared. And in talking with Doji Sensei for a while, we thought it might be fun to do something that we're calling the kata challenge. And he's involved in creating a lot of new plays. He writes new plays, and in fact, one of the plays that we'll be doing in the production opening in a few weeks is one of his original play is called Two Mountain Priests, Futari Yamabushi. And in creating new plays, sometimes you have actions that don't exist in the tradition. So you create new kata. And so we wanted to give you an opportunity to throw out an idea or an action, and then we'll give Sensei a few moments to think about it, and he's going to take the challenge of creating a kata for that action. So does anybody have anything they'd really like to see here? Yes?
Shark attack.
Shark attack.
Shark attack. So I do shark, or I do human. Okay, it's up to me.
Oh, it's up to you. Well,
Okay. Okay, shark. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful to be at the Waikiki beach and be swimming. Oh, what a lovely day! What a lovely day! Ding ding, ding ding, ding ding, ding ding, ding ding, ding ding, ding. Idekuro!
do we have another suggestion for a kata? I'm not sure that we can top that one. Yes?
Is there a difference between eating, you said you have the same kata for eating mochi or something else. What about saimin or noodles?
Okay, so the different kinds of eating, whether it's mochi or something like saimin, some kind of noodle, something like that.
Noodles, yes. In Kyogen, the word udon comes out in Kyogen, but we never eat udon in Kyogen. And in later art performance called rakugo, which is like a one-man stand-up comedy but sitting. A sitting comedy that one person does. There is often a person eating soba or udon, and they use the chopsticks. So this is kind of going to become an imitation of rakugo.
I would like to thank you for taking on the challenge. If you have other suggestions, bring them to us after the show. We'll work on those. Maybe we can incorporate them into the play we're working on now. I would like to ask our 3 cast members to come up now, because something we'd like to do. Doji Sensei has been here. This is his second visit during this production training process. His father's been here 3 times, and they're coming and working very intensively with the students. So today, since we will be opening a show in about 3 weeks, we thought it would be nice to preview just a little bit for you, so you have a sense of what Kyogen sounds like in English when we do it here in English. We open on April 14th, and because our theater is now being renovated, the production will be at Bakken Auditorium on the Midpack campus on April 14th and 15th, and 21st and 22nd at 7:30 p.m. And there are 3 plays. In the first play, these 3 students here are involved in that. It's called Futari Daimyo, or the 2 Great Lords. And I think you can guess which 2 are the Great Lords by the way they are dressed. They're dressed in their suo, top and bottom that match, and this fine sword. And we have here Chao Jung, who's an MFA in our Asian performance program. In the middle is Christine Lambourne. She's playing the passerby, and she's an MFA in our acting program. And at the end is Jennifer Yu, and she's a doctoral candidate in our Asian, she's studying Japanese theater, that's her area of research. So they're going to do a little teaser from the show that doesn't quite give away what happens. I will come off the stage so they can get into position. And in the program there will be 3 plays. The first one is this one. The second play is one that's written by our guest artist, Doji Sensei. And the third play is the new Hawaii Kyogen. And so here they are. The 2 lords have met the passerby at a crossroads. And
since we have just met, this may be taking liberties, but I have a tiny request and wonder if you will indulge me. I can't imagine what you might need of me, but anything within my ability, I shall be happy to do. With that, you say you will accept? Yes, I will. Hey, listen. He says he'll accept. First of all, let us express our gratitude. As you wish. Hey, you there. That you agreed just now to accept our request is more than we deserve. To begin with, tell me what it is that you want. First of all, please accept our gratitude. Oh, do not trouble yourselves with giving me thanks. My request is one of necessity. As you can also see, I carried my own sword. I would like to ask if you would be willing to take this sword and carry it to the capital. Well now, normally that would be very easy to do. But I see that your sword is quite fine. Furthermore, I have never in my life carried a sword. I humbly ask that you please relieve me. Now wait. Just because the sword is fine does not mean you cannot carry it. Yes, you must. Carry the sword for us. I humbly ask that you find it in your heart to please relieve me of this. So, you were refusing to carry the sword? No, I am not saying I will not carry it, but something that shouldn't be, should not be, is what I am trying to say. You don't say! Sure. First, you allow samurai to give thanks to you, and now you say you won't carry the sword. By this point, whether you say you will carry it or won't carry it, I will make you carry the sword. Do you persist in saying? Oh, please wait! What do you mean wait? Please first allow me to speak. If there's something you want to say, I do as you say. Have you a proper hold now? Do I have a proper hold now? Let's take a look. Well, though you said you did not know how to carry, you bear the sword quite perfectly now. If, along the way, you encounter anyone that you know, call out, "Hey, hey, you there? Are you there?" Yes, here before you is how I will answer. What's that? You will answer? I will answer. You will answer? I will answer. You will answer? I will answer. I will answer. I will answer. Oh my. This is the most interesting person I've met in a while. To pass the time as we travel, let's try calling him. That is a good idea. Hey, you there. In that case, to entertain ourselves as we pass the time, we shall call out as if you are our servant. And you answer. I shall do as you say. Hey, hey, servant, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Yes. There you are, here before you. What's that? Here before you? Here before you. 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 Ha ha ha! Look there. This is the most fun we've had in a while. You should try calling him and see how it feels. As you wish. Hey, hey. In that case, this time I will do the calling out, and you answer me. I shall do as you say. Hey, hey, servant, are you there? Yes. Are you there? Are you there? Yes. There you are. Here before you. What's that? Here before you. 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 Here before you.
We don't want to give it away. So we're just beginning to that. We thought we would give a few moments if you have questions for the sensei or for the students, the whole process, or about anything you wish. We have a few moments. Do you have some questions? And if not,
I have a question.
yes.
Are the costumes going to be imported from Japan?
Question is, are the costumes imported from Japan? Yes, they are. In fact, these are all from costume Sasaki Yano Isho Sasaki Yano Costume Company in Kyoto. It's one of two places I understand that still make No and Kyogen costumes, and they actually have to do they do the textiles as well and make the costumes. So we've purchased most of the costumes from them, and we have some from previous stock which were also purchased from the same place in Kyoto.
Can you talk about gender in Kyogen, maybe traditionally and now, and whether men or women do it, and whether women play men or vice versa?
I'll let Doji Sensei talk about the
Professional world.
Now in Japan, there are two professional women Kyogen actors, and rest are all men. And usually we perform all the casts by men for professionals, and even the women's role is meant to perform by men. So in Kyogen, we don't have any love stories because they're all men. And we don't do makeup like kabuki. We, like you see, well, these are girls, so they have makeup on. But like me, I have no makeup on, and that's how I go on stage. And so, basically, everything is done by just men. And they say that when the Kyogen and No were made like 700 years ago, there used to be also women actors too.
And in the amateur world, there are many amateur females, and of course, because we're an educational program populated mostly by females, we cross-cast. But there is like a cutoff for a certain costume that will identify female. There was a question over here before, then I'll come back over here. I'll take this one. This
Is
question.
the humor primarily in the story or in the pantomime?
The humor in the story or the pantomime?
Both? Yeah, we have some funny mimes. At the same time, the story is quite simple, but also funny. Yeah, it's not just about mimes or just about story.
There are some that are quite untranslatable, that are all about puns, so they don't work at all in English. They're all about not really even story or mime. It's all about words and play with words. There was a question.
What is the significance, if any, of the length of the trouser?
The significance of the length of the trousers. So you can see the difference between the hanbakama, the short hakama, which is a lower class character.
So people who have to work outside have shorter pants. And these people, long pants people, basically stay inside. So they don't have to, so when they go outside, they wear a different type of kimono originally. In the real Japanese clothing, this is called suo, and or daimon. There's a big crest here, and so it's a very official clothing. So it's like for when you meet the shogun or the emperor. This was what you would wear. So these people would wear more easy clothes at their home, but in the Kyogen kata, the style, whether these people are inside or outside, they still wear the same long pants to show the audience that their rank very in an instant. Okay.
Thank you.
Take one last question if there's one. If not, then we'll go. But thank you all for coming.